Dan Larson here at the photo booth. End of March means it's the end of the first quarter. Time to assess this year's acquisitions up to this point. Time for the best of 2020 so far. Usually the beginning of the year is pretty light. Stores are always trying to clear out the previous year's inventory. The new stuff hasn't always shipped yet, or the good stuff is just coming later in the year. Not to mention a potentially tighter figure budget coming out of the holidays. This year for me has been different. While I haven't purchased a lot of figures, almost all of the pieces I have so far have a very good chance at being final contenders for the best of 2020 overall 8 months from now. Keep in mind, there's always a little carryover from the end of last year. Sometimes a wave of figures isn't due out until the beginning of the next year, but it gets out into places at the end of the previous year, so it's hard to know where to put those figures, especially if you couldn't acquire them in time. A very important figure fell into that category at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. And, is too late to put it in last year. Not really sure if it qualifies for this year. And that's an important distinction for me because I like to base my best of lists on what was released in a given year, not just what when I purchased it. The Super Skrull wave of Marvel Legends hit very late in 2019 or very early in 2020, depending on your area. I personally didn't get the entire wave, but there was one figure I could not pass up, the Reed Richards figure. Well, not my favorite figure, not my favorite version of Reed from the neck down. It is my favorite version of Reed from the neck up. As soon as pictures of this figures hit last year, I knew that I would be able to use it as a custom Dan Larson, and so I have done that. As a few of you, based on, as have several of you, based on the Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter photos that I have been tagged in, and for that I thank you. Here's the thing, though. I don't want my number one of 2020 to have been released at the tail end of 2019 or the absolute beginning of 2020. So I'm just going to go ahead and give the Dan Larson Reed Richards head a special Hall of Fame entry and take him out of the running altogether. There will be 11 best of 2020 figures this year with the custom Dan Larson already destroying everything else that is going to be released this year, or basically has ever been released. Period. That's just going to be the overall best figure in my entire collection. Has to be. But the only other note to keep in mind here is that there are some Kickstarter figures in here. And they are considered 2020 figures because that's the year they were finished and shipped and made available for sale. It doesn't make any sense to file them the year that the Kickstarter happened, even though that's when they were paid for. What would I put in the video? All right, well, there's not much here, so it's not so much about the eliminations as it is the rankings. So let's get to it. Pretty much already know what's getting cut here. Jazzware's Battlehound, or Molten Battlehound, I think this was called, from Fortnite. He's going to get taken out. I think this guy is called Rust Lord or something like that. He's another 6-inch Jazzware's Fortnite figure. Fortnite, again, a game I'm not really playing at all or have ever played. But in terms of figure design, lots of really amazing, awesome stuff. Vendetta back here from McFarlane Toys. Really nice figure. Articulation on these, it's a different kind of articulation scheme, so better or worse than Jazzware's, hard to say. They've got most of the same joints. Neither one of them is as posable as you would want them to be. They are both gorgeous sets of figures. It is insane to me that I, A, have a bunch of Fortnite figures, B, that I have a bunch of McFarlane figures. Like, what happened? 1, 2, 3, 4 McFarlane figures in this booth right now, and that is insane, just considering where McFarlane has been, as far as my collection has been concerned, the past, I don't know, like 15 years. There's just been like no McFarlane stuff in it whatsoever. So that leaves me with, I'm counting these, this is Zika Toys Sectaurs. That was a Kickstarter that shipped this year. I'm counting them as one piece, Spidrax and Dargon there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, we still got to take, I'm taking out McFarlane's animated Superman. Decent figure if you don't have an animated Superman, or if you're looking for one in this scale, or just something that has a pretty good amount of posability. It's all right. The head's a little weird. There's some other issues with it as far as it matching the animated style, but it's a very cool figure. I dig it. It's just not top 10, that's for sure. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Other ones I'm going to pull here is going to be this Disney Toy Box Venom. I love this line. It's one of my favorite lines by far. There's actually so many figures I wasn't able to keep up with all the other stuff that I collect. So there's still other pieces I have to go back and pick up based on the Disney Infinity little, Toys to Life game. They went ahead and just made action figures out of a bunch of Marvel, Disney, and Star Wars characters. And there's definitely others I still need to go back and get. I don't have Wolverine. I don't have Captain Marvel. And then tons of the Disney ones I don't have. But this figure was great. He came up with like a little gooey tentacle attachment thing. And he's just huge. And he matches up great with Spider-Ham. But he's not going to make the top 10 here. So that should be 10 figures plus, or 10 figures plus Dan. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now all we got to do is put them in order. At the this is going to be tough because we've got characters that just make up the core of what I'm into. The only obvious exception here is that there's no Boba Fett yet. But Superman, Batman, Optimus Prime, Rocketeer, those are all Snake Eyes. Those are all going to be characters that, going back to the beginning of me collecting toys, those are all going to be characters that are always going to be in my top 10s. Can't say that, not every I'm not always going to have a Batman. I'm not always going to have a Superman, not always going to have an Optimus. It's going to depend on the ones, but pretty consistently, if there's like Superman was in the top 10, just since this channel has been around, we're in our 5th year now. There's been a Superman, I think 3 of the 5 times, 3 of the 6, whatever. We'll see if he makes it all the way to the end. There's a good chance, but still a good year ahead of us. Whatever. I'm wasting time here now, trying not to actually try to have to put these things in order. Man. And like every one of these figures, I was like, I can't wait for that figure to come out. And that's rare. Like usually it's like, maybe I'll pick it up, maybe I won't. But every single one of these, obviously the Kickstarters, this is Boss Fight Studios, Steeds, part of their Vitruvian hacks. They did a whole line of 4-inch scale horses. Obviously those and the Zika Toys Kickstarter, those were pieces I was waiting for. But every single one of these, when I saw the pictures, I was like, definitely picking that up for sure. So it's rare to have so many of those kinds of pieces hit so early in the year. That's not what kind of a buyer I am. Usually I'm buying like all kinds of random stuff. And, this was all planned purchases, things I wanted to get for sure. And just weird to have so many of them in the booth. And I'm just stalling. So it's like 10, it's like 1A through 10A is really what I'm looking at here. But I got to put them in some kind of order. So I think we're going to go. Man. It really is 1A through 10A, so I guess it doesn't really matter what order I put them in. I'm going to put Boss Fight's horse here at the end. This is Sarah Francis, by the way. This is the unicorn. This was the Kickstarter exclusive unicorn, and this is the Kickstarter exclusive because it has the gold horn and the gold hooves. Frankie, I think, is the unicorn that's they're currently available. Check out Boss Fight Shop, I think it is, on their website. Just search for Boss Fight Studios. And there's another unicorn available for sale, but I believe it has silver horn, silver hooves, but still has the rainbow mane and tail. And then there's all kinds of other stuff there. So if you're looking for 4-inch scale horses, check them out. So that's going to go at number 10. Man. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to put, it's really going to come down to character preference here because these are all amazing figures. It's going to come down to character preference and whatever nuanced thing about that figure ended up not being completely, totally perfect. So, for instance, Optimus, hang on. For instance, Hellbat from McFarlane Toys is a super sick, super amazing figure that everybody... You see that piece of dust that just fell on my umbrella? Everybody who likes Batman, everybody who likes crazy giant mech suits, everybody who likes this color scheme, everybody who likes robot-looking bats should get this thing. It is awesome. Mine... So it's posable. It's pretty posable. Mine has a really bad hip that keeps popping off. And these wings aren't the best. They're huge, nice wingspan, but they're not the best in terms of posability and just sort of overall look of them. And just for that alone, because we're talking about the difference of like, you know, millimeters between these things, I got to put him at 9. And then it's crazy that there's 2 Batman in here, 2 Batman figures in here at all. That's definitely never happened before. I would have to go back and look. My official top 10s don't go back that far, only to 2014 at this point. But I don't think there's ever been 2 Batmans in there. I'm gonna put Rocketeer next. Absolutely gorgeous figure. This is Diamond Select's Rocketeer. Funko released a Rocketeer back in either I think 2015. I think he was actually in my the first top 10 we did for this channel back in 2015. I'm pretty sure that was the year Funko put their Rocketeer out. Those 2 figures are very, very close in terms of quality and posability and all that stuff. They both have terrible unhelmeted heads that you can just throw in the trash bin. This one, for whatever reason, doesn't come with a gun, which was really, really weird. Lots of interchangeable hands, you know, rocket effects and interchangeable chest plates here. But you know, slightly larger scale. No gun though. I don't know why they made that decision. So I've been using the Funko gun. It even comes with a like trigger finger hand, which is, I don't get it. I don't know. It's weird. But the detail on this thing is absolutely extraordinary. You know, you don't get much of a torso crunch, but everything else is here. He's got, you know, the thumb that's firing off the rocket pack. You've got the gum plug in the hole here, all the stuff that you'd want. Just a really great scale, really great looking figure. But I'm going to put that at 8. And then at the, let's see. At the 7 spot, we're going to go Batman. Love this Batman. This is part of the Essentials line, I think it's called. This is Nightfall Batman. Some slight limitation to posability here. No accessories, no interchangeable hands or heads or anything like that. But I just love that classic blue and gray with the classic bat symbol on it. This is my Batman. The only thing that would make this perfect is that it actually had a cloth cape, like a wired, not even wired. I'd take just a regular hanging cloth cape, but I understand why they made the choice to go with the, you know, sort of rubbery plastic. It's all part of the cowl. It's all good. But I really dig this figure. And I'm going to go ahead and slot him in at 7. That's really just a case of like, oh, they finally made my ideal Batman. So there's no way I'm not picking that up. Now we're going to go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 is going to go Optimus. Even this, it's like the ideal Optimus Prime figure. It is gorgeous in every respect. The transformation is great. The robot mode is incredible. The truck mode is fantastic. He's got his trailer, all that stuff. The matrix of leadership on the inside of his chest here. The only reason it's not ranked higher is because of Optimus Prime fatigue. And the fact that anybody who's picking this up feels a little bit cheated from having just purchased 2 different versions of Siege, potentially. I have both of these Siege versions. It's almost this exact same mold, but he's got some, you know, Ghibli bits around him. Just feels a little like, hey guys, well, you didn't have to do that. So for that reason alone, he's going to take the 6th spot. 5, we're going to go with, excuse me, Dan. That's better. 5, we're going to go with, I'm going to go Doom at 5. It's an absolutely gorgeous Doom figure. No real complaints with this thing other than I've never been a huge Doom guy. This wasn't a figure that, I mean, it definitely was on a want list. Like, they got to do it at some point. It's one of the oldest figures, one of the most prominent villains that they haven't refreshed in a while. So from that perspective, I definitely was looking forward to him. Great sculpt, great look. The detail on this cape, the hood and cowl and everything. It's got the texture right down to the texture in the fabric. It's all good. It's just kind of like, you know, it looks great. It's a great Doom, but Doom's just never been super high on my villain chart. I'm gonna lower this a little bit here. just like the professionals. All right, so we got Sentinel, Snake Eyes, Sectaurs, and Superman to go here. I think next up we're going to go Sectaurs. They are really great figures, and the only reason they wouldn't rank higher, well, there's a couple reasons. One is scale. My whole collection is 6 and 7 inch at this point, so 4-inch figures, while I like them, and you could conceivably say, these are in scale, they're just tiny little guys, they're like bug people or whatever. It's scale wise, and it's Sectaurs. It's a nostalgic 80s brand that I wasn't super hugely nostalgic about, enough to want to get these and enough to want to, what it was is just those old figures. They were so big and they didn't have elbows, and that made me nuts for forever. And I was like, I just need Sectaurs figures that have elbows. But these came out better than I possibly could have thought that they would come out. I only grabbed these two from the Kickstarter itself, but now that all the other figures are on sale, I'm definitely going to go grab the rest of the set. And I'm really hoping that a lot of you support this line and that they sell out of them so that they can actually get a Wave 2 done and hopefully not have to kickstart Wave 2. But, we'll see how that goes. I know that there's been designs out there for them, so hopefully those will hit soon. But I'm going to put them here. Magnets on their feet, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. All kinds of weapons, interchangeable hands. They've got the sort of rubbery, I was going to say web gear, holsters and stuff, just like the vintage figures. And just the shiny metallic look. They are about as perfect as you could have possibly asked them to be. All right, so we got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. That's at 4. At 3... as much as it pains me to do it, Sentinel is at 3. This figure I was looking forward to forever. As soon as the character concept, the design was shown, as soon as that skin was put in the game, I was like, oh shoot, that's something I gotta own. Tall Geese Chicken, Gundam Rooster, whatever you want to call it. But the execution let me down a little bit. This pearlescent kind of plastic. Somebody described it online as looking like, like a puddle of shampoo, and now that's all I can see whenever I look at this pearlescent stuff. And I'm like, oh, God, I don't want that. The gold on the beak, I love. The gold on the crest, or the metallic on the beak and the crest. Love all that. Love the movable wings. The articulation, like these Jazzwares figures were so good, and I thought for sure these were going to be pivotable. You could slide them back, get a little bit more range out of here. This thing inhibits his shoulder movement, and it's like... he's only got the 2 fingers, but they still have finger articulation. It makes it impossible for him to hold weapons. So while I love the look of this thing, while I love the way it is standing on my shelf, and I'm glad to have it, I am really hoping that McFarlane Toys is going to take a whack at that and pull it off just a little bit better. I'd much rather see just like a flat matte white design for that thing than that sort of pearlescent kind of look. Number 2 spot's going to be tough, but I really don't see how I can do anything but make Superman the number 2. This McFarlane Superman is absolutely incredible in my opinion. Articulation is fantastic. There might be some things you got to do to pose it. It doesn't have that same sort of, ab crunch that you're used to with Marvel Legends, but I love the head sculpt. I love the articulation. I love the interchangeable hands. Would have preferred a cloth cape. I really do dig the metallic sort of separate chest symbol there, even though I would normally very much lobby for just a printed version of the symbol. I really do like the way this came out on this. Last year, I put NECA's exclusive Superman from the Predator Aliens 2-packs there. I put that one in the top 10 for the whole year, and that one had the printed Superman symbol. So I feel like between last year and this year, I got 2 of my best favorite Superman figures ever, with potentially another one coming out later this year. So I'm pretty happy with this Superman figure. I'm going to put that at number 2, and then of course that makes number 1 the brand new G.I. Joe Classified Snake Eyes. Just a really nice figure. I don't want to go too deeply into it. We've got our review of this. We've got our video for this figure is coming out later this week, so keep an eye out for that. But what can you say about this thing? Like, I'm just happy that it's back. I'm just happy G.I. Joe's back. The designs, they're going to take a little getting used to. Oh well, too bad. It's bad. I'd rather have to get used to some of the design nuances than to just keep lamenting the fact that G.I. Joe is nowhere to be seen. Really curious to see what the, movie suit's going to look like and what the rest of the characters are going to look like as they reveal them. It's just going to be exciting to see this line grow and what character choices and all that stuff. Other than, a wolf, I don't know what else you could have possibly asked this figure to have. Interchangeable hands, all the weapons and stuff. It's just a fantastic piece that I am more than confident putting at the... hang on, my head fell off here. More than confident putting at the #1 spot. So that is a pretty good... I am pretty happy with that top 10. As far as the order, whatever, put them in any order. It doesn't matter to me. They're all really, really fantastic figures, and I am shocked that there's so much good stuff out this early in the year. Anyway, that's the best of 2020 so far. We'll check back in at the end of June. Maybe by then I'll actually have a McFarlane Toys Mortal Kombat Spawn figure, maybe Earthrise Wheeljack and Starscream. It's going to be a really tough year because I just remember that Gundam Universe Wing from Endless Waltz, hopefully that's going to ship this year, and there's no way that's not making it. And then also, there's a Galaxy of Adventures Boba Fett figure coming out later this year. Mandalorian stuff, the Mafex Hush Superman. It's going to be a crazy year for action figures. Thank you for watching this and all of our videos. Stay safe out there. Remember, we are all in this together. Make good decisions for you, your family, and the people who you have never met, who you will be helping by doing the right thing. Follow me on Instagram at toygalaxy. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy. Thanks. Later.